Hello, welcome to another section of the Virtual Rugby Show's Grassroots content, and it's great to say that Talking Rugby Union is playing a small part this weekend. So many thanks to Ed and all the team at the Virtual Rugby Show for putting this all together. I know a lot of hard work has gone into this year especially, so many thanks to Ed and the team for that. So as I've mentioned, we will be talking about the importance of the grassroots game from a player's perspective, and two players who know all about that join me now this afternoon. It's Wasps' Tom Cruse and Ealing Trailfinders' his new recruit, Guy Thompson. Guys, how are we?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, all good, thanks, mate. Just sat in the sunshine and enjoying the time off at the moment.
I was going to say, Guy, you've picked a perfect setting outside there.
I'm back at my mum's house until I move down to London, so there's not much room in there, so I just thought I'd come outside and enjoy the garden.
I'm in my bed.
Absolute professionals. That's what we are, absolute professionals. And before we get into sort of the serious rugby chat about the grassroots game, I know you guys have missed each other. There is a bit of a bromance between you, so is it nice to see each other virtually?
Oh, full bromance.
Wish it was the real thing, eh?
Absolutely.
It's good, always good to see Cruse, I'll be honest.
And obviously you guys spent some years together at Wasps, and let's just go back into sort of your early career. And to start with you, Tom, I mean, we've spoken a couple of times for a couple of podcasts and interviews that we've done with Talking Rugby Union about sort of your route into the game. And I know you've been with Wasps for, I think, 4 years now, but you've said about not going down the conventional route in the past. So just tell us a bit about how it all started for you in terms of your rugby.
Yeah, very unorthodox, I suppose. Just out of college, ended up sort of back at my hometown club, which was Stockport. I suppose a natural progression from Colts rugby into senior rugby there. I think we were in North 1 at the time. And yeah, just started playing a bit of rugby there, enjoying it, usual stuff, playing with your mates. And we had a pretty decent side. I think we got promoted one year and we won the league another year. I was probably played senior rugby at Stockport for about 3 or 4 years, and eventually playing for Cheshire against Lancashire in a county championship game. It got picked up by I think I was 21 or 22. Got picked up by Pete Anglesey, who was the Lancashire coach at the time, and just offered me a trial Sale Sharks. Where I got myself a contract, ended up there for a year, which and on loan then to Macclesfield, who were in National 1 at the time. And yeah, after getting released by Sale that year, which was obviously disappointing, but I kind of felt like the writing was on the wall anyway, a little bit out of my depth. Found my way to Rotherham, which is obviously my first sort of taste of proper. I suppose my first taste of proper professional rugby, where I was playing week in, week out and training and, having to back games up. And then, obviously from there for a couple of years, successful years, onto Irish, and now obviously found my way to Wasps. So a little bit unconventional, like you say, not from an academy as such. So, I think I owe a lot of my career, I suppose I owe all my career to sort of the exposure I got by playing senior rugby at grassroots level.
Yeah, you speak so fondly, Tom, as you have done in the past, about your time at Stockport there. But did that kind of help you continue your drive? Because you say you got released and it didn't work out for you at Sale. But did your experience at Stockport help feed that hunger? And you think, no, actually, I've been able to perform at this level and I've got a chance. So there could be another chance to keep performing to the same level.
I don't know, really. I think if I'm really honest with you, at that time, obviously being younger back then and 20 years older, so I never really thought about playing professional rugby. I obviously wanted to play at the best level I could. But I used to, play on a Saturday. I'd sometimes go to Edgeley Park on a Friday. You're right there, Tom, over that ice.
Sorry, mate.
I used to go to Edgeley Park sometimes on a Friday and watch Sale. And to be honest, that was sort of like how I would do it. It seemed like a little bit unrealistic for me to think, I'm going to go and play Premiership rugby. So I suppose so. But the call up from Pete Anglesey to go and trial at Sale was so out of the blue. I was kind of working at a high school and playing rugby with my mates on a Saturday. So to be offered to go and play full-time rugby was, to be honest, really out the blue for me.
And you said in the past as well, Tom, that when you were at Rotherham, that was kind of the moment that you thought, actually, I can potentially pursue this as a career. You said there it's kind of your first taste of the professional environment. Was that the reason why?
Yeah, definitely. Again, we were fortunate enough to have a great team for the 2 years that I was there. And Lee Blackett, who's obviously head coach now at Wasps, was my head coach when I was at Rotherham. And, you know, learned so much from him at the time, and he really believed in me and knew how to get the best out of me. And straight away, I was just settled there, felt really good, and we went into the first few games, played really well, started to get a bit of momentum, and I think, as Tom will know, when you're playing well and you start to get a bit of exposure and your confidence is high, I suppose you start to think, you know, anything's possible really, and at that moment in time, I started to realise that maybe, you know, I could make a Premiership player out of myself.
Yeah, and we'll bring Guy in now as he continues to get that nice suntan there. Guy, in terms of your route into the Premiership and the professional game, I know when you spoke on one of the podcasts that we've done over the last few months that kind of Richmond, you were kind of encouraged to play for Richmond, where it all started for you. Was that right?
Yeah, it was. I was slightly different to Cruse as I was coming through sort of the age group stuff. I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to go to a private school in Bromsgrove in Worcestershire when they had a really good link with my secondary school. And off the back of that, I was training with Worcester Academy. So at the end of that, I had the decision to go to university. Then I decided to go to university instead of professional that way. And then after university, went to Gloucester for a year, sort of skipped past that because it came to the same bit. I did a year like Cruse did at Sale. I did at Gloucester and didn't make it. Cruse was sensible enough then to sort of go and find Rotherham, who were like a championship club. At that time, I didn't know what to do. So I kind of stepped away from rugby, and as Cruse stitched me up previously on a podcast, I went on a holiday for a few weeks. It ended up into a few months. But looking back in hindsight, it probably wasn't the best thing. But at the time, it was good for me because I got away from everything. Came back. I then, again, met some friends playing sevens, played for Richmond and built my way up that way. Went to Richmond with a career in London. And then had the decision, do I want to try and play pro rugby, go to Jersey and try and come up the leagues and have an end goal of maybe Premiership? Or do I want to continue working in London? And to be honest, looking back, it was an easy decision to give rugby a go. And a year at Richmond, 2 years at Jersey, and then similar to Cruse, call out the blue came up, offered me a Premiership contract, and just went for the opportunity. And thankfully, it paid off to a certain extent.
And when Jersey was kind of on the table and maybe in your eyesight, Guy, did you kind of reflect on that experience that you did have when you sort of decided to leave rugby behind for a bit, go to university, and think, actually, you know, I've done that bit now. This is the time for me to take the next step?
Yeah, it was tough. It wasn't an easy decision. As I said at the time, going to Jersey was right. Are we going to get back into this cycle of almost making it, not making it, almost making it, not making it? Do I want to put myself through all the hard work again to have what is a very, very small opportunity or a small window that you can take? Looking back, and then when I was at Jersey, it was National 2 South, so there's no guarantee we're going to go up. We then went up to, I was National 1, we then went up into Championship. When we were in Championship, it was like, okay, well, I've just got to focus on myself now because I'm one league below Premiership. And that's the way I thought, but we were battling relegation, so the thought of me actually making Prem wasn't really something that crossed my mind. I guess it was what I was aiming for, but at the time I was so focused on Jersey and just playing every week with a good bunch of friends, enjoying it, living on the island and having a great team culture was something that I probably enjoyed more than anything there. Yes, we were losing most weekends, but we were a squad and we gave everything for each other. And in the end, that kept us up.
And of course, Guy, as I mentioned at the top of this chat, that you will be playing for Ealing next year, who are in the Championship. I mean, just in terms of the second tier, how exciting is that for you? Because Ealing have obviously recruited really well, but there's also a whole host of players who are learning the trade in the Championship and are just excited and ready to cut the teeth in that level.
Yeah, and I was very vocal sort of when they first came out, and Cruse was as well, about the funding cuts to the Championship. At the time, there was no sign of me dropping down to the Championship at that level, or there was no bias in that whatsoever. But I was very vocal because I thought, for me, the Championship is what feeds Premiership clubs. that those sides, there is some extremely good players, experienced players, or young players, or just talented players in that league that need a pathway through. They need it, and they need to be looked after as Premiership players, because it's full time. You can't get a job when you're playing there, and for me, that Championship level is what makes a Premiership great. Look how many boys have come through Championship level, whether they've been on loan or actually been at clubs like Tom and myself, that have come through and played Premiership. If you look in every squad, there's a good chunk of boys from the Championship that have been there. For me, it's vital that league is kept strong, and for the sake of the Premiership, there's still pathways through for players that can come through, because I didn't develop till I was a lot later. I wasn't good enough when I was younger. I was an okay player, but if you said to me when I was probably 20 years old, "Oh, you're going to play 100 times for Wasps in the Premiership," people would have probably laughed at you. I'm sure Cruse, when he was 20 years old, if you'd have said to him you'd have won Players Player of the Year at Wasps in your second year there, he would have laughed at you, because being at that level, we weren't ready there. Playing Championship rugby gave us an opportunity to develop ourselves, gave us an opportunity to develop the game, but enjoy it. And then when the opportunity came to play Premiership, both of us took it with both hands, because of the way we developed it at the lower league.
Yeah, I mean, do you kind of echo those thoughts there, Tom?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I suppose with the recent salary cap cuts as well in the Premiership, you might see more opportunity for Championship players to make that transition as well, because that you don't go on good money from the Championship to the Premiership because you sold the opportunity, aren't you? So hopefully, that flow from the Championship to the Premiership still lives on, and certainly when the cuts take place, I think it's 21-22, and the salary cap is reduced, we'll see another big influx of Championship players and get them into the Premiership, and only speaks volumes for the Championship.
Yeah, and just finally, Tom, obviously we've been going through such a strange time with COVID-19, and it's been so unprecedented, and a number of these clubs that we've mentioned that down the lower levels will be struggling in terms of financially and not sure what the future holds for them. So is it important that everyone in rugby sort of rallies around them and sort of understands the values that the community game holds?
Oh, mate, I'm so on board with that. I think I was actually thinking about it before. That's proper rugby. Me and Tom are lucky enough to have actually experienced both, and only a tiny percentage of players get to experience the Premiership game. But what proper rugby is playing with your mates on a Saturday, training Tuesday, Thursday, whether you're minis and juniors or colts or seniors. That's proper rugby. That's the heart of what rugby is. Obviously, we're lucky enough to do it professionally now. But again, we're such the minority. The majority is these grassroots clubs, and that's the heart and soul of what rugby is. So, mate, I completely agree with you. I think that the RFU need to, and everybody in the rugby community need to look after each other and make sure that all these clubs are surviving. And then once we're past this obviously sticky situation we're in now, we can all start to thrive again and keep growing the sport.
Yeah, very, very well said, Tom. And I think that's a perfect way to end our chat about Grassroots rugby. Many thanks to Guy and Tom again for their time. Hopefully we see you both on the pitch very, very soon.
Cheers, mate.
And that has been our Grassroots chat for the Virtual Rugby Show in association with Talking Rugby Union. Keep tuned, stay tuned to everything that's going on over the course of the weekend. It's great work which Ed and the guys have put together. So more chats like this, and obviously more high quality interviews as well to come. So thanks very much for joining us.